I guess we can, if you're interested, rather than me opening a new topic, yeah, perhaps it's better if I ask you to put forward some questions here, and I will answer as as well as I can. Yeah. So
Jean, I don't know if it's a political question, but so with Jokowi, Indonesia has, let's say, made a step forward.
yeah,
Is Jokowi's modus operandi of governing is gonna influence the next presidents, or we are gonna go 2 steps backwards again?
yeah, that's a very good question. Actually, that's the question about the elections. Actually, among the contenders of the upcoming election, yeah, who is able to carry on Jokowi's policies? Yeah. I am of the opinion, yeah, that one of the reasons why Jokowi has taken the decision he has taken to support his previous opponent is because he believes that the fellow with his son will be more forceful in the implementation of his economic policies. Yeah. So this, of course, is raising questions throughout the country. As Indonesia already reached the level from which it can continue self-growing economy, you see, how you say in English? Self-developing, continuously developing economy. I don't know, but you definitely have areas in the country, in Indonesia, where it's taking place here. You have Jakarta Bandung, you see the area Jakarta Bandung, Surabaya Malang, you have also Medan, but the problem is avoid creating gaps between developing areas and background areas here. And I think that Jokowi has taken the right steps here to spread the infrastructures throughout the country. Toll roads, railways, and you see health hospitals, clinics, schools. Because if we go back to the old system where everything is centralized in Java, in the long run, in the unity of the country, which might be threatened. Not now, 25 years from now. I don't know whether I answered your question. Any other question?
What year is the moving of the capital, this program for Indonesia, and is that going to change the let's say Java central view?
Again, another good question I haven't touched here. Myself, 1 month and a half ago, yeah, I went to Kalimantan to visit the new capital. It should be inaugurated for the next Independence Day. There is still a lot of work to do here. But Indonesia doesn't have the choice here. Jakarta is sinking and overcrowded. If we take into account that the level of the sea within 50 years here is probably to be higher by 1 or perhaps 2 meters here. Of course, it was the right thing to do here. Of course, it's questionable what is the efficiency of such programs here. I don't dare giving an answer to that here. But what I know is that the two main groups of politicians, Prabowo Gibran and the Nationalist Party on the other side, both groups have declared that they will stick to the policy of moving the capital city to central Borneo. There is a huge work to do here. I have been there. We have the presidential palace is being built. The parliament is being built, but it's just the beginning of huge work to do here.
Why Borneo?
You have had a number of proposals, suggestions to move the capital of Indonesia. At a given time, it was Purwakarta, a city which is located 100 kilometers east of Jakarta. Sukarno wanted to build the capital city in Palangkaraya. And you have people, one of my friends in particular, who calculated that the center of Indonesia was in the island of Sumbawa. It was the Tambora volcano, you see. And when the Tambora volcano, you see, erupted, it was 1 year before the Battle of Waterloo, you see. And some Indonesians think that because of the eruption of Tambora, Napoleon couldn't move his cannons and he lost the Battle of Waterloo here. So, yeah,
I mean, Borneo seems very problematic. There are so many other islands here in the archipelago that could possibly do the thing. I don't know very much about that water and that, but say Sumatra or one of the other major, bigger islands.
I think you see the main troubles are definitely in Java. Yeah, of course, other coastal areas are going to be threatened, but definitely it's. Of course, You see, by having a type of development which is Indonesia-centered and not Java-centered, of course, it's a huge transformation in the way the country is being run. But considering that the unity of the country is a primary consideration, I think it's a good decision. It's a good decision, I think. Yeah.
I mean, just local politics in Borneo are not peaceful. From my friend, we have a clinic there. I work with Bumi Sehat. We have a clinic there in Papua anyway, and things are not stable.
Yes, but have you been to France recently?
Well, that's a good point.
Eh?
I agree, the world is not stable.
You see,
Yeah.
excuse my statement here. If we compare the situation in Indonesia, the way minorities are dealt with in Indonesia, if we compare what is taking place in Burma, even in Malaysia, in Sri Lanka, where the Buddhists are running amok, if we compare Indonesia to India, no need to mention Pakistan, Iraq, the Indonesian politics are much better managed. Of course, in Borneo and in Sumatra, these areas have been savaged by the military regime. Because you know what took place? When Suharto took power during the Cold War in '65, with the support of the Americans, he had no political clientele. But the forest areas were declared state lands. And what did the military regime do? It cut the whole areas into concessions, forest concessions, which it virtually gave away to generals, high officials, and sometimes foreign companies. It created a political clientele. What did it mean? It meant that the minorities, the Dayaks, the people from the forest areas in Sumatra, they were told to move away. Their traditional rights were not respected. What has Jokowi done? He has restored in many areas of Borneo, in many areas of Sumatra, he has restored the rights of the local people. Because of course, what took place here? See, huge companies, generals controlled the forest. They wanted to exploit the timber, you see, to get the timber from the forest. They needed more skilled labor. They couldn't find skilled labor among the indigenous people. So they brought in Javanese skilled labor, Madurese skilled labor, whereas the local Dayak or other people didn't get the jobs. But the Dayak didn't use the rhetoric borrowed from Marxism, Leninism to fight, you see, the capital that was taking over their area. Yeah, they brought forward, yeah, racism, ethnic war. They started cutting the heads of the Madures. So, which is the economic, that's one of the main problems, the economic disruptions we saw in Indonesia were to a large extent the result of the socioeconomic mismanagement dating back to the days of the military regime. Even in Bali, what took place in Bali when it was decided that Bali should be a resort, you see, a tourist area. You had several possibilities. You had, for example, a well-known Balinese intellectual, Ida Bagus Anyana Manuabe, wanted Bali to have mostly boutique hotels, you see, owned by the local Balinese, let's call it local Balinese new bourgeoisie. But what happened? Who did get the loans, the funds to build hotels? People from Jakarta. So you had Jakarta, capital, took over the tourist industry of Bali. And instead of 35,000 rooms we could have in Bali, with Bali still nice, we have 150,000 rooms in Bali. And which is why also you start having, you see, social tensions in Bali with ethnic tensions. So this economic mismanagement is generating ethnic tensions throughout the country. And Jokowi is well aware of that, you see. He's well aware of that, yeah. But of course, that's a paramount problem. In spite of that, yeah, I think that the way Indonesians manage religious and ethnic differences is better than what we are doing in Europe.
What do you think if you were to state, I guess, three major successes of Jokowi's last 10 years? What does that be? Three. What do you think, if you look back on his presidency, what were his greatest successes? And what were his, perhaps, greatest failures, if you were to ask him, or disappointments? If you were to ask him that question, maybe you have. What do you think that would be?
I don't.
What do you think are the three main successes of Jokowi in the last 10 years?
The three main successes.
Yeah.
The three main successes of Jokowi, you mean in the policies or in the result of the policies?
Well, just overall, as the leader of the country of the past 10 years.
To have emphasized that the unity of the country depends on economic development. Yeah. And to have taken the right steps to to develop that aspect of economy. That's his main success here. His success as well in modernizing all the institutions. And something which I forgot to mention, in creating a social security system, health care, which is becoming universal. It's very big success of Jokowi. His third success is in his management, perhaps, of foreign affairs. I don't mean that he has too much enhanced the name of Indonesia on the internationally, but in the way he approaches the foreign world, he does it the way he approaches Indonesia. He underlines similarities rather than difference. You see, when the Chinese fishermen infringed on the Natuna Sea, Jokowi didn't insult the Chinese. He just went there and he held a cabinet meeting on an Indonesian boat from the Navy. So he shows respect toward foreign partners. And that's something Jokowi's, in my opinion, brand of nationalism is still an open-minded one. Perhaps other points here. His management of religion. Of course, I told you about the positive aspect of religion in general in Indonesia. Nevertheless, Jokowi has taken steps to control the upsurge in religious radicalism. And he has been attacked for that very reason, because it was not 100% democratic. When it was decided that he would ban Hizb ut-Tahrir. Hizb ut-Tahrir is an international Islamic organization that advocates the caliphate. So beyond nationalism, you must have the constitution of an international caliphate of Islam. The Hizb ut-Tahrir was becoming very popular in some intellectual circles because it was well organized, not terrorist, but it could lead to that, but still soft-spoken, but becoming very powerful in some universities, to the point that minority students felt marginalized. He decided that it should be banned, because there are a few countries in the world where Hizb ut-Tahrir has been banned. Similarly, you see, he banned the Islamic Defender Front. The Islamic Defender Front potentially, FPI in Indonesian, potentially are a danger for Indonesia's future in 15 to 20 years, if the Islamist wave doesn't start ebbing.
What happens to the athlete?
Excuse me?
Pancasila.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Wait for the Pancasila. Yeah. And the Islamic FPI is becoming powerful in modern city environments. It became in particular powerful in Jakarta when we had a Chinese governor in Jakarta. Yeah. I cannot tell you the story, it's a complicated one, but the manipulation, what this Chinese governor said was manipulated by the FPI in such a way that the governor was deemed to have insulted Islam. Of course, Jokowi found ways to ban the FPI after the FPI had succeeded into bringing about, you see, the governor's fall. So he knows how to, but at the same time, to carry on with the FPI. The FPI is potentially a danger for Indonesia in 20 to 25 years from now, because the way it practices Islam is still traditional, but is done into a radical way. The Muslim Brotherhood in Indonesia is not very dangerous because, like Hizb ut-Tahrir, it's an intellectual movement. It's powerful in some ministries, yeah, but it doesn't. It's not popular among the crowd. Whereas the Islamic Defenders Front practices Islam in a traditional way, like the Nadatul Ulama, the traditionally tolerant brand of Islam we have in Indonesia. So what is Jokowi doing in the matter? Jokowi has been giving funds to Islamic schools which practice Islam Nusantara, which means Indonesian Islam, Indonesian traditional Islam, people who underemphasize differences here, people who sometimes practice a sort of blending, a sort of syncretism between Islam and older traditions. He has been channeling funds to the Islamic schools belonging to that tradition. He has also financed the setting up of new Islamic schools next to Islamic schools controlled by radical movements. So, and we see the students from radical schools shifting their allegiance from a radical Islamic school to a modern, tolerant Islamic school. But it doesn't mean that the fight is over. When I told you that Jokowi is not a social reformer, he has not redistributed the wealth in Indonesia. Of course, in the long run, if we have no political party able to channel the social discontent of sectors of Indonesian society, we might see in 5 to 10 to 15 years, we might see a new form of Islam radicalism coming up, or even Hindu radicalism. Yeah, that's other questions.
What about infrastructure? Where does the money come from?
That's a very good question, because it takes us back to the first month of Jokowi's first presidency. During the presidency of Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, 25% of the Indonesian budget was dedicated to maintaining the low price of gasoline. Yeah. So as soon as Jokowi came to power after he had been elected, he moved very fast here. He decided to increase drastically the price of gasoline. Yeah. You had discontent for a couple of weeks. But what did he do at the same time? He turned the Indonesian budget into a new budget. The money which had been dedicated to keeping low price of gasoline was moved to social services, to the setting up of health, social security, and things like that. So, at a later stage, you had growth in exports, yeah. And he continued during year after year. Yeah. And from what I understand, of course, because I have discussed with a couple of bankers, you see, in Jakarta, some of them are questioning the financing of infrastructure. But at least two of them, you see, from two world famous banks, yeah, told me that if Jokowi increased the level of debts here of Indonesia by 10 points, it wouldn't be dangerous for the economic stability of Indonesia. When he took over power, you see the level of debt of Indonesia, if I'm not mistaken, was 30%. Now it's something like 40%, because we have a very good finance minister. Of course, there are problems. I discussed with the same bankers here. They told me that Jokowi was trying to build toll roads by selling the toll roads to foreign investors. They would finance the building of toll roads. And he told me what took place. They told me what took place. You had if I'm not mistaken, it was the Quebec's teachers' pension fund. Yeah. They wanted to invest in Indonesia. They approached the Indonesian government, which promised to give them all the facilities in relation to the stability of the government, of their investment, and the like. Yeah. But they decided to make a survey about the quality of asphalt. Yeah. And they discovered that if they invested in Indonesian toll roads, yeah, the toll roads wouldn't last 20 years as expected, but after 10 years, they would have to make the how you call that, the surface. Yeah. But
It's the same in Montreal,
perhaps it's why they want to invest here. Yeah, yeah. And aren't you one of these teachers?
No, we're from Canada. And she's from Montreal.
Yeah, that's true. But in spite of that, yeah, these two bankers, yeah, and one of them is I forgot the name of the huge bank from Hong Kong, HB, yeah, they told me, in spite of that, even though Jokowi didn't manage to get the expected investments to build toll roads, it was still worth doing the toll roads, building the toll roads, because of the expected, you see, positive consequences regarding growth of Indonesia. But Jokowi knows that, because when he was building, you see what we discussed, when he was building his furniture, he couldn't export them. There were no trains. To take them through customs was impossible. And he has slashed that, you see. He has practiced that. He has seen people asking him for money so he could export his chairs. He knows. But what he did, you see, when to deal with basic corruption like that, dia bikin orang malu. He makes official, he makes them embarrassed. So, and for a Javanese to lose the face, you see, something, he has always been very good at that. Even though one of the problems again, which is corruption. I have discussed with a high official from the government in charge of dealing with corruption. And he told me, Pajan, we do what we can to diminish the level of corruption. But I am on the side of the executive. We are supposed to have a democracy with a separation between the executive and the legislative. So whenever I sue, you see, one of these corrupt officials, quite often I might lose my case. What can we do? I have no control over the judges. The only way, what we are doing, we open the books for the education of the people while trying to transform the education to reduce the level of corruption. So it's why I insist on the historical evolution to judge a country based on corruption index, democratic index. To me, excuse me, it's bullshit. We have to see that in a historical perspective.
Thank you.
That was really good.
Thank you, thank you.